Joining us now, Texas radio analyst Roger Wallace. Roger, glad to have you back on the program. How you doing?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. We're doing good.
So last time we talked to you, your daughter and yourself were making your way out to Lubbock, Texas to check out Texas Tech. Did she end up becoming a Red Raider?
She's going to play offensive line Saturday for Texas.
Nice.
We're in the process. We're in the process of trying to figure all that out. But we had a good visit out there. They're pretty proud of what they've got going on out there.
Did Charlie Strong realize that it's not an NFL roster and he doesn't have to get it down to 53 by game 2 or something?
Yeah, and there's no waiver wire either, so he can't pick it up. I think he came in guns a-blazing with this is the way it's going to be. And there are some guys that have had some issues before that are now feeling the wrath, and other guys that maybe, we never see exactly what goes on behind the scenes. But obviously they were close, and they're all feeling it, and the message, I think, is pretty clear.
How is this being received by Longhorn fans? Because the idea when he came in was, okay, we're going to do it a different way. We're going to be more disciplined, physical. Is it okay that these guys are being suspended, or is it like, okay, yeah, clean this up and we'll get better hopefully soon?
I think a little bit of both, but I think the big picture fans are saying, all right, this is what this program needed, and the people that are worried about Saturday are wondering how anybody on offense is going to stay upright with such a depleted offensive line. So I think you have a mixture, but I think the big picture people realize that he's setting a tone. He's got a track record at Louisville, and obviously he thinks that this is what needed to be done when he came in. And whenever you talk to him, nothing seems to surprise him. So it's not like I think he sits in his office going, I can't believe what I got myself into. I think he had an idea of what was to come.
Roger Wallace, Longhorn Football Radio Network analyst and the sports director at KXAN, joining us on BYU Sports Nation. Roger, what's the mindset with Texas? And let me say this before you answer that. We joined Chip Brown, one of your media colleagues, yesterday on the show, and he told us that for the fan base that the sky is falling. It's kind of doom and gloom. Now with 2 more suspensions announced last night, has there been even more of a shift? What's your take on the mindset of Texas and the fan base?
Well, yeah, and I understand because of the David Ash situation, and you've got such an unproven quarterback situation that you're heading into such a tough stretch of games where I'm sure people are wondering, they're going to look up in mid-October and wonder if this team's going to have another win or two. But again, I think it's mixed. I think there are some that say, all right, this is your chance to put your stamp on it and then see what you can build. So in the short term, yeah, it doesn't look great. The numbers are not there on offense. The defense played really well, but, how much are they going to be asked to do now? And obviously everybody going forward is probably better offensively than North Texas.
Obviously, Oklahoma, biggest game on the schedule. There are a bunch of other notable games. Baylor,
UCLA.
Great game. UCLA next week, for goodness sake. Did BYU become this big game for some reason? Because of last year?
Yeah. No question. And this is, they get them at home. UCLA's up in Arlington, and Oklahoma's in Dallas. So this is a marquee home game along with Baylor. But yeah, what happened last year just rattled this program so deeply, and all the effects of it, a coordinator change in the middle of the season, and then a team that actually got things turned around okay. But that BYU nightmare, I think, has stuck with the fans long enough to make this a big game, whether or not there were suspensions, whether or not David Ash is able to play just on its own, regardless of UCLA next week. I think people have been looking forward to this game.
I've seen a few different lines, Roger, in terms of the odds makers placing Texas as a 3-point favorite, a 1-point favorite. I've seen some that now have the game as an even draw. Do you feel like with all the suspensions and the players sitting out and the injuries that this is an even playing field, even in Austin for Texas?
I think it's a toss-up. I think if you get to the fourth quarter and it's a tight game, I think probably most Texas fans would take that right now and take their chances. I think everyone's really concerned about how well this team can move the ball offensively, and obviously BYU is going to load it up and try to avoid Malcolm Brown and Jonathan Gray gashing them and say, all right, Tyrone, see what you can do through the air. And I think Texas will be smart offensively, and they'll put him in some positions to have some success and keep it kind of simple. But they got to block up front, and, oh, by the way, they got to stop that run game that, messed with everybody's head last year. And you got Williams back that, defensive coordinator Vance Bedford was raving about yesterday after he got done raving about Taysom Hill.
It's interesting because the matchup to me to watch is the BYU offense versus the Texas defense. Surely they don't give up 679 yards of total offense, 550 rushing. The question is, how much better are they, and how soon do you think we'll know this?
Yeah, I think they're better, although they got better last year too. But just watching the North Texas game, the thing that jumped out to me was, I don't care who you're playing, you're going to accidentally, I think, get a 10-yard play on offense, and that didn't happen. Their longest play was 8 yards.
That's
so there was
amazing.
No missed tackles, isn't it? I mean, there were no missed tackles. There were no busted assignments. There was no, just a mental error that let somebody run free on play action or something. So I think the defense is better, but now you combine it with an offense that obviously is going to be limited. How much pressure, how many snaps is that defense going to have to take in what will be 95-degree weather when the game starts? So I think the defense is a lot better. Their guys in the middle are very good. I know BYU has a freshman center, so I'm sure Texas thinks that they can do some things there, but they also realize that Hill can make his offensive line look a lot better the way he moves around back there.
Roger, the center is from Allen, by the way.
Well, that's a football factory.
He's ready to go.
He'll be jacked up to square off against the Longhorns, no question.
Roger Wallace, Longhorn Football Radio Network analyst on BYU Sports Nation. Let's go back to the North Texas game. We were talking about how crazy it is that the longest play by the Mean Green was 8 yards. Have you seen a game where there are less completions than interceptions? I think Texas had 4 interceptions and they completed like 3 passes?
Yeah, they had more. Yeah, they had more picks than interceptions, and it was just an absurd game. Defensively for Texas, maybe offensively for North Texas, they had to break in a new quarterback. They went to 2 quarterbacks, but they won 9 games last year, and they had a 4 out of 5 starters on their offensive line back. So that alone, you would think in the fourth quarter when Texas is rolling through, going deep into their roster, somebody would pop something. So this defense definitely will look a lot different Saturday, is my guess, than what happened out in Provo. So I think Longhorn fans just want to see them tackle Taysom Hill in the open field, and they all feel a little better about themselves.
What's the confidence level in all these backups who will start, Roger?
Offensive line is a big question mark. I mean, I think Swoops, you go into it thinking, all right, this guy's, they're going to manage him, and they have really good running backs. But now your offensive line is so depleted that I think that's where they're wondering how they're going to get anything done. Now, they have some playmakers at receiver. They added an element of number 9, John Harris, last week, who's had an injury-riddled career, and he had 7 catches for 110 yards, and he's a big, strong guy. So, he's a different weapon that we haven't seen in the past, and Shipley's reliable underneath and third down guys. So they think that they'll make some plays offensively. It's just, again, it's a broken record, but how can it not be when you're so depleted? And the big one was Dom Espinoza, the starting center, with 40 starts, because Sunday afternoon, that was the buzz around here, was what's the status of Espinoza? And then Charlie Strom, drops the bombshell on Monday that his Ash is out, and then everyone forgets about the center with 40 starts and the guy that sets all the blocking schemes and everything like that. So it's been, bad to worse as far as right up the middle goes.
Roger, tell us about what Texas is going to get at center. I mean, Dom Espinoza started for 3 straight years. Nobody else got a start at center. Now that he's out, who's the guy that comes in and is now working with Tyrone Swoops?
Yeah, it's a redshirt freshman, Jake Rollerson, and he played, obviously, a lot of snaps in the fourth quarter. But Texas went out and got one of the best offensive line coaches in the country, in Joe Wickline, and that was maybe the coup of Charlie Strong's staff when he put it together, was pulling Wickline away from Oklahoma State after 9 years. They have a history together at the University of Florida, and so he's going to earn his money. He's also the offensive coordinator, but he's a guy that likes to move guys around, and you'll see offensive linemen playing different positions throughout the game. They all do just about, but it's a redshirt freshman, so that's what it is. And then you've got a lot of young guys around him on the offensive line, and you lose Kennedy Estelle, the starting tackle. Now, Desmond Harrison is a guy that's just never really gotten started.
Okay.
The big story last year was before BYU, and BYU, they accused BYU of trying to block his eligibility because of that online class he took in junior college. So Harrison's never been a factor, but they were hoping he would be a factor. But Estelle's the big loss of those two because he's the one that's actually gone out there and done it in the game.
Tyrone Swoops, distant cousin of
Cheryl
Swoops, we're told, which is great blood. What do fans expect him to do? The highly recruited backup who now gets his first career start?
Yeah, and he's been a bit of a mystery because one of the red flags with him was he played at a small high school and they didn't win much. And so you kind of wonder how that happens with a kid so talented. But he's big and he's strong, and he has the uncomfortable position of following Vince Young, and his physical makeup looks like Vince Young, so they're the obvious comparisons that just aren't fair. He's not as fast as Vince Young is. He's a little bit bigger, but he's mobile. He's a guy that's big and strong, and so he'll be able to make some plays for himself when things break down. But can he stand back there and go through his reads and find his number 3 receiver with a limited offensive line? So, again, Sean Watson, the offensive coordinator, he's been through this before. He likens this to his situation at Louisville with a young Teddy Bridgewater who was thrust in because of injury. And so he's kind of been through this before. But they'll have a simplified playbook. I think, you pass when you're supposed to run and vice versa to try to keep BYU off balance, but that only goes so long. So we'll see. Maybe he surprises everybody and throws some darts and gets things going. And it's all about confidence too, as you guys know, because he just hasn't had it in the game. Some good things happen. Somebody busts a big play and everything gets changed.
Roger, finish this sentence. Texas wins against BYU if what happens?
They're efficient on offense, and they make some plays. I think their defense is going to be good. I don't think their defense can win the game. I think they need their offense to win the game. But I think if they're efficient and productive on offense, I'm not saying they need 40, but they're going to need, 2 or 3 touchdown drives, and maybe they get a short field, and maybe they get a defensive score or something like that.
Roger, great talking with you. We wish your daughter the best as she gets her first start on the offensive line this weekend for the Longhorns. But
I appreciate you guys having me, guys.
Yeah, no, always great to talk to you, and we'll look forward to Saturday's game.
All right, take care.